everyone. My name is Jessica Early, and my case study, I'm going to talk about Deal versus Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So, just a brief outline of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about Melissa's Deal legal battle and career impact, the importance of healthcare workers in the system in regards to a at-will employment, and the public policy exemptions. So I'm just going to give you guys just a brief background of the case. Melissa Dill was an at-will employee, which means that under Pennsylvania law, employees can be terminated at any time for any lawful reason. But there are some exemptions to this, right? Refusal to commit illegal acts, illegal crimes, filing worker comps claim, and violation of explicit legal protections. Melissa Dill worked for Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, also known as CHOP, for 16 years. She started out as an intern and she gradually made her way up to nursing. During this time, she became a private caregiver to James Mooney, who was terminally ill. Through time and developing trust, Mr. James appointed Melissa as his power of attorney and over his estate. Shortly after his death, his family grew very suspicious and accused Melissa of financial misconduct. And the reason for that being is because shortly after Mr. James' death, Melissa made two $10,000 checks in her name as well as her husband's name. So her family also accused her of unauthorized changes to Mr. James' account. So, because of these accusations, she was ultimately arrested, and her employer, which is CHOP, found out. And so on September 2015, she was placed on a 90-day unpaid administration leave. So the deal is that if her case resolved within those 90 days, then she would get her job back and she will receive back pay. But if her case was not resolved within those 90 days, which it was not, she would ultimately be terminated. So on January the 8th, 2016, Melissa Dill was terminated. And a year and some months after her termination, this is when she was acquitted of the charges. But she was not reinstated her job, nor did she reapply to CHOP. Instead, she filed a lawsuit against CHOP for wrongful termination under the Public Law and the Criminal History Record Information Act. So the legal analysis. Melissa's public argument was that CHOP already deemed her guilty. Through their access of her criminal records, they already deemed her guilty. The trust was out of the window. But the trial court ruled that Melissa's termination did not violate public policy because she was an at-will employee. The Supreme Court or the Superior Court upheld the trial court's decision that the presumption of innocence or the Criminal History Record Information Act did not apply to Melissa's termination because it wasn't applicable in private employment. So, just a brief analysis of this case is that employees are vulnerable. They are very, very vulnerable. So, the vulnerabilities of the at-will employment, right? This have a major impact of healthcare workers, trust, and morale. So, I think that there needs to be a balance between organizational interest and employees' rights. So from CHOP's standpoint, I understand. Melissa is a nurse. She has access to patient information and patient data. But then I also understand from an employee rights. You want your employer to value you. You want them to have trust in you. And so when CHOP placed her on that 90-day unpaid leave and ultimately terminating her, she felt as though that they deemed her guilty based on her previous charges. And I also think that there should be some potential reform, right? There should be some fairness, some transparency to where employees still feel valued. So my recommendations would be to extend protections for employees facing unresolved allegations, such as what's happening in the Deal case. Employers should adopt a just cause employment policy to where clear guidelines of handling these accusations are made. You get documentation listing the reason why you was terminated. And I also think that employers should offer short-term roles or paid leave during these investigations. I think ultimately, if Melissa Deal was granted this, then she probably wouldn't have proceeded with legal matters. So, in conclusion, Melissa Dill case highlights the challenges of at-will employment. I think that employers should foster trust and fairness in the healthcare system. And then I also talked about the legal and organizational reforms that really should happen to reinforce that trust and that morale within the workplace. So thank you guys for listening to me. I appreciate you listening to me. This case, I believe that the trial court as well as the superior court, they did adhere to the laws and the legal principles. But I think that Melissa Deal was treated unfairly. I think that she was treated unfairly due to the false accusations and the criminal charges that was filed against her. So I do think that there is a call of action that needs to be made to where employers' interest and integrity is being protected, but then employees are also being protected and trusted as well. So thank you guys. Have a good day.